Picture two people, same city, same income. One of them ends 2025 with $4,000 more in savings than when it started. The other ends the year with $4,000 more in credit card debt. Same cost of living, same inflation. The difference is not luck, it is a system. Here is the stat that should stop you cold. According to Bankrate's 2026 Emergency Savings Report, 27% of Americans currently have zero emergency savings. Zero. Not a small cushion. Nothing. And in Canada, Equifax reported that 1.45 million Canadians missed at least one credit payment in Q3 2025 alone, up 46,000 from the quarter before. This is not a niche problem. This is the baseline. And yet, Fidelity Investments' annual study found that 64% of people are planning some kind of financial resolution for 2026. More people than ever want the reset. Most of them will not follow through, because they are trying to fix everything at once, instead of building a system that actually holds. By the end of this video, you will have 6 specific moves, sourced to named institutions, with real numbers and real tools you can act on this week. Not general advice, not spend less, save more. 6 moves, and one of them will work even if you are currently carrying a balance on a 22% interest rate credit card. Stay for that one. Let us start with the honest picture. According to a January 2026 survey by LendingTree covering 2,000 U.S. consumers, 60% say their financial situation at the start of 2026 is the same or worse than it was a year ago. Nearly 1 in 5 say they are outright worse off. Half of Americans took on some form of new debt in 2025. Credit cards were the most common source. In Canada, TransUnion's Q4 2025 Credit Industry Insights report puts Canadian household debt at $2.6 trillion. That is a 4.3% increase year over year. The average Canadian's non-mortgage debt sits at $22,321, according to Equifax Canada. And the Equifax non-mortgage delinquency rate hit 1.63% in Q3 2025. Up 14% year over year. Consumer prices in the U.S. are 26% higher than they were in December 2019, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data cited by Bankrate. Only 12% of employed Americans say their wages have matched inflation over the same period, per Resume Now's 2026 Cost of Living Crunch Report. The math is not working for most people. But here is the other side of that picture. The Federal Reserve has been cutting rates. The Bank of Canada held its overnight rate at 2.25% in January 2026. U.S. high-yield savings accounts tracked by Bankrate are still paying up to 4.09% APY on cash. That is real return on your emergency fund, something that did not exist 2 years ago. The conditions for a personal financial reset are actually better in 2026 than they were in 2023. You just need to use them. Move 1. Audit your subscriptions and cancel before midnight tonight. Resume Now's 2026 Cost of Living Crunch Report found that 92% of Americans have cut back on spending, but most people cut spending reactively after the credit card bill arrives. The reset move is cutting proactively. Open your bank statement right now and look for recurring charges. Streaming services, gym memberships you do not use, software trials that rolled into monthly fees. The average U.S. household carries approximately $219 per month in unused subscriptions, according to research from Rocket Money. That is $2,628 per year, leaving your account silently. Use the app Rocket Money in the U.S. or Hardbacon in Canada. Both connect to your accounts and surface every recurring charge automatically. Cancel anything you have not used in the past 30 days. Do it tonight. Move 2. Park your emergency fund somewhere it actually earns. Bankrate's 2026 Emergency Savings Report found that only 47% of Americans have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. If you are in that 53%, step 1 is building the fund. But if you already have one sitting in a big bank earning 0.01%, you are losing money every month to inflation. In the US, NerdWallet's March 2026 rankings show Newtek Bank's personal high-yield savings account at 4.20% APY with no minimum balance and no monthly fee. that is federally insured money working for you. In Canada, EQ Bank's personal account was ranked the top everyday HYSA by RateHub for 2026. No fees, no minimum balance, and covered by CDIC insurance up to $100,000. A $10,000 emergency fund sitting in a HYSA at 4% earns $400 per year. The same money at a big bank's standard savings rate earns about $1. Move it. Move 3. Attack the highest interest debt first. Use the avalanche method. The Motley Fool found that Americans answered only 48% of financial literacy questions correctly in 2024. One of the most common mistakes that reflects this gap, paying equal minimums across all debt. The avalanche method is mathematically the fastest way out of debt. List every debt you carry. Rank them by interest rate, highest to lowest. Throw every available dollar above your minimums at the top rate balance first. In the US, the average credit card interest rate is now 22.83% annually, according to Capital Counselor citing Federal Reserve data. Paying a 22.83% balance is equivalent to earning a 22.83% guaranteed return on every dollar you redirect. Nothing in the stock market comes with that guarantee. Once the top card is gone, roll that payment into the next one. Avalanche down the list. Move 4. Automate your savings on payday, not after bills. Vanguard's 2026 Consumer Cash and Savings Survey found that 82% of people who feel confident about their financial resolution had a specific, concrete plan, not a vague goal. The single most effective habit financial planners consistently recommend: automate savings before you see the money. Set up an automatic transfer to a separate savings account the day your paycheck hits, not after you have paid bills, not after you have bought groceries. Even $50 per paycheck, transferred automatically 26 times a year, is $1,300 by December. In the US, Ally Bank lets you set up automatic savings buckets tied directly to payday. In Canada, Wealthsimple's automated savings feature inside a TFSA moves money on your schedule and keeps earnings completely tax-free. The key word is automatic. If the decision requires willpower, it will not last. Move 5. Use the right registered accounts. TFSA first, FHSA next. Canada. Roth IRA first, US. This is the move most people skip because they think registered accounts are complicated. They are not. In Canada, the TFSA contribution limit for 2026 remains $7,000 per year. Every dollar of investment growth inside a TFSA is completely tax-free. You pay no tax when you withdraw. If you are saving for a first home, the First Home Savings Account, the FHSA, lets you contribute $8,000 per year and deduct it from your taxable income. And withdrawals for a qualifying first home are also tax-free. That is a double tax win that most Canadians have not touched. In the US, the Roth IRA contribution limit for 2026 sits at $7,000. You contribute after-tax dollars now and pay zero tax on growth or withdrawal in retirement. Open one at Fidelity or Vanguard. Both allow $0 minimum to get started. These are not investment picks. These are tax wrappers. Using them is not optional if you want your money compounding efficiently. Move 6. Build a zero-based budget for 1 month, then automate the result. Ramsey Solutions Q4 2025 State of Personal Finance Report found that 35% of Americans feel trapped in a cycle of debt. LendingTree found that 43% of people who tried to pay down debt in 2025 rated their own progress as only fair or poor. The missing piece for almost all of them is a written budget, not a mental one. Zero-based budgeting means giving every dollar a job before the month begins. Income minus expenses minus savings equals zero. Not because you have no money left, because every dollar has been assigned a purpose. In the US, use YNAB. You need a budget, which costs $14.99 per month, but has been shown in an independent study commissioned by YNAB to save new users an average of $600 in their first 2 months. In Canada, use Monarch Money or the free version of Good Budget. Run 1 full month of zero-based budgeting. Then take the categories that consistently go over budget and automate a cap on them using a prepaid card. Structure beats discipline every time. This section is not optional. Here are the real risks to the reset plan and what to do about each one. Interest rates can change. The U.S. high-yield savings accounts paying 4% today follow the Federal Reserve's rate decisions. If the Fed cuts further in 2026, those rates drop. Bank rates analysts note that HYSA rates are already in decline. Keep your emergency fund there regardless. It is still better than a standard account, but do not count on that rate being permanent. The avalanche method requires patience. You may not see a single card reach zero for months. If you need early motivation, it is acceptable to use the snowball method, paying smallest balance first for your first 60 days, then switch to avalanche. The emotional win of closing one card early can sustain the habit long enough to make the math work. TFSA and Roth IRA limits cap your options. The $7,000 TFSA limit and $7,000 Roth IRA limit mean you cannot shelter unlimited money. Once you hit that ceiling, the next best move is a taxable brokerage account with tax-efficient index ETFs, VFV.TO or XIU.TO in Canada, VTY or SCHB in the US, where dividend income is your only tax exposure. A financial reset requires behavioral change, not just information. Vanguard's 2026 survey found that 22% of people cite economic uncertainty as their biggest obstacle to meeting savings goals. But the data also shows that people who set a specific dollar target, not a vague resolution, are far more likely to hit it. The risk is not the economy. The risk is staying vague. Here is the summary. Move 1. Audit and cancel every unused subscription tonight. Use Rocket Money in the US or Hardbacon in Canada. Move 2. Move your emergency fund to a high-yield savings account earning above 4%. Move 3. Attack your highest rate debt first using the avalanche method. Move 4. Automate savings on payday before you touch anything else. Move 5. Open a TFSA or Roth IRA and use the tax wrapper, $7,000 per year, both countries. Move 6. Run one zero-based budget month in YNAB or Monarch Money, then automate the result. You do not have to do all 6 at once. Pick the one that applies most to where you are right now and do that one this week. That is how a reset actually happens, one system at a time, not all at once. Here is the question I want you to answer in the comments. Which of the 6 moves is the one you have been putting off the longest, and why? I read every comment, and if this kind of data-backed, no-fluff content is what you have been looking for, subscribe. That is all I am going to say about that.